Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for the first session of the day? Yes? Now that's nice. Our first session for today is about changing trends in cinema and entertainment marketing. Now, the entertainment industry is projected to be more than 62.2 billion US dollars by the financial year 2025. Cinema is one of the most powerful forms of entertainment. A larger-than-life screen, comfortable cinema chairs coupled with incredible sound and lighting systems. Over 1,200 films are released every year in India, and marketeers keep looking for innovative ways to draw audiences to the theaters. The film industry, like most others, has changed with time and with the current trends. Movie marketing is a constantly evolving field. Movie websites, social media, mobile and other tools are being used to increase revenue. Concession sales are crucial to a movie theater, for it is required to survive and remain profitable at the same time. Concession profits contribute a major percentage of the theater's profits, and a solid concession strategy ensures long-term business success. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the first panel discussion, we will look at how Indian cinema is marketing films, concessions, and other aspects compared to that of global film marketing. What our strengths and weaknesses are, the past, the present, and the way forward. How has the coming of digital content changed and will change the scenario in the future? It's time to listen to our experts and see what they have to say with regards to trends, analysis, and anecdotes. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage our moderator for this session, Mr. Sora Verma, CMO, Inox Leisure. I request on stage our panelists, Mr. Rahul Puri, Managing Director, Mukta A2 Cinemas, Mr. Devang Sampat, Director, Strategic Initiatives, Cinepolis, Mr. Dharmesh Datta, Vice President and Head Marketing, PVR Group, Mr. Mohan Umrotkar, CEO, Carnival Cinemas, and Mr. Vikas Suri, Director, Kitchrama Food Service Equipment. I invite Mr. Varma to take over and start the proceedings.
So, hello everyone, and it's a relief that we have a session before lunch. So, I think it's one of the first sessions. So before we start, start with talking with a lot of questions, because there's a lot of competition here I can see. But let's introduce ourselves. So I'll start with myself. My name is Sora Verma. I am the CMO marketing for Inox. I've been in the business for the last 20 plus years. Done a lot of things: film distribution, filmmaking, marketing, lots of things. And I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. So I'll give the mic to Vikas.
Morning, friends. My name is Vikas. I am the Rahul. We are the business of providing like kernels, etc. I get an opportunity to introduce myself twice. I'm glad. My name is Vikas Suri. I'm Director Kitchen Rama. I'm in the business of providing concession equipment and supplies to the cinema industry. That means popcorn equipment, popcorn supplies, colors, flavors, and everything. Thank you. An
amazingly passionate person for food and beverage. That you can see with his height and demeanor.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mohan Umrotkar. I am CEO of Carnival Cinema, the fastest growing multiplex chain in India. And Of course, you must have heard about us, and I would like to see you guys in our theater very soon. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Dharmesh, Datta. I lead marketing for the PVR group, and very honored to be among this panel. Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Devang Sampat. I am Director Strategic Initiative for Cinepolis. 20 years sounds too old. I have a similar experience, but I work for 2 companies, for Cinemex and now Cinepolis. Over to you.
I'm Rahul Puri. I'm Managing Director of Mukta Arts and Mukta E2 Cinemas. Yes, 20 years now, almost 20 years in this business. It's been quite a long time. And I'd like to thank Big Cine Expo for having me on this panel.
So I'll start with the complete marketing of films as such. I mean, there's exhibition, there's distribution, there's filmmaking. But if you see marketing as a whole and you compare it to the international trends, there's a lot of myths we work on. And the myths are basically कि you know एक Bombay Times में ad आ जाएगा तो सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा या एक यहाँ पर कुछ हो जाएगा तो ये हो जाएगा एक गाना सुपर हिट हो जाए एक आइटम सॉन्ग आ जाए. And ultimately, when it comes to cinemas, you just start doing basics. Ki standee lag jaye, trailering ho jaye, my film is a super hit. So we're still going with the traditional means, whereas the new means have evolved, and there's a lot which is happening. And I know for a fact that there was this film recently, which was extremely. The trailer was very well received, and that's what the actors assumed. And they went to Jaipur, and they came to Jaipur, and on the airport itself, there were 50,000 people waiting to see the glimpse of the actors, lots of crowd and everything. They were like very, very happy. It was a Friday morning. And from there, they went to the cinema. And there were only 3 people sitting in the cinema. So they said, yaar, hum itna market kar rahe hain picture, log aa kyun nahi rahe? Because the problem is everybody wants to see the star, but that conversion in a cinema is a different ball game altogether. So the new media is emerging. There's a lot of things which are happening in that space. But yet, there is a difference between what the filmmaker or the marketeer or the production marketeer perceives and what the exhibitor is trying to do. So I'd like to ask you, Dharmesh, the new media strategy, how does it make a difference to films?
So the new media, the recent revolution called new media has created a independent digital universe, which is so compelling in its engagement that it's just taken the consumer cinema goers engagement to a new decibel and a new high. Big tech giants like Facebook and Google have created their own ecosystems. The ecosystems just seems to expand every year, making it more and more consumer friendly, higher engagement, more stickiness. And it's just something that has gone way beyond traditional marketing. Today, the marketing budgets are about 20 to 30% of marketing spends is directed towards new media. Because new media is engaging people in their personal space. The cost per acquisition or the cost per lead is much, much more efficient than conventional or traditional media. Data analytics is taking the game to a new level. You know the consumer's behavior, you know which location, what time, what are the peripherals he prefers, what is the genre that he watches. So new media has done this whole, it's created its own personality, its own way of, reaching out to a consumer beyond the brick and mortar of a physical cinema. So earlier, marketing used to be limited to in cinema, traditional print, outdoor, television. But all of these mediums are now kind of, not as, I would say, not as aggressively pursued as digital media. Because digital media is giving you coverage, it's giving you cross-pollination. I'll give you an example of how Facebook sees our industry as a very interesting way to engage people. So Facebook created a page called Bollywood in Facebook. I'm sure all of you have interacted with this page. It's a 6 million fan community. When I put this question to the team at Facebook, why would you want to do this? They said, we want consumers to spend more time with us. and the content that cinema generates, there's nothing more engaging or more passion-driven than cinema. So therefore, when we are interacting with the 6 million community on Bollywood and Facebook, the stickiness is much higher. The time that they spend with us is much higher. And it becomes a great marketing tool for studios because it's like a consolidated space for their launches, talent interactions with the fans. Recently, PVR and Facebook India came together with Dharma production, and we had the first ever talent and fan engagement on a cinema screen, live, two-way. So during the Razi trailer launch, suddenly Alia Bhatt came on the screen across Bombay, Delhi, and Kolkata, and she started talking to people, the fans, and asking them, how did they like the trailer? And they were overwhelmed, to see. She was sitting out of Dharma production office, and she was talking to these people in Juhu, in a cinema, PVR cinema in Delhi, a PVR cinema in Kolkata. So this was like an overwhelming experience for the fans who had never interacted with a star, a A-lister, and she was actually asking one-to-one questions, and they were answering back, And this was a pleasant surprise. So this sort of, so new media is giving you these kind of advantages. We followed this up with 102 Not Out. This was, if I'm not wrong, Sony, where Mr. Bachchan sat out of his Jalsa residence and interacted with audiences in Delhi and PVR cinemas in Delhi, Bombay. And again, fans were, but Mr. Bachchan is an icon, so to see him on a cinema screen talking to them one-to-one was a very, very compelling experience. And then to top it all, Cannes Film Festival, the entire Manto team out there, Nawazuddin Siddiqui with his team, talking to people in India, in PVR cinemas, one-to-one on screens. So these are path-breaking innovations that technology is enabling today. And taking a cue from that, PVR went ahead and created an ecosystem called Hollywood at PVR. We feel that Hollywood does not get its due share of promotions in India. Although they are 10% of our box office is Hollywood, but Hollywood has the potential to grow and grow rapidly. So we collaborated with Facebook India and all the big major Hollywood studios in India. And today, this is a unique ecosystem where only Hollywood promotions are happening. Facebook is the marketing and community partner. Facebook is going to boost and grow the community and make it a 5 to 6 million Hollywood fan following community. So we're doing these sort of endeavors because we truly believe new media is the way forward for movie marketing.
That's superb. That's superb. So, in fact, I'd just like to mention here that there was this very prominent Hollywood film which has broken all records, and they've not even taken out a single ad in a newspaper. They believed in the new media, they believed in this thing, and the numbers are there to see. So, talking about new media, there's also something which is old school and new school, and there are always goods in the old school, good things in the old school as well as the new school. Like, for example, obviously we're doing a lot in the internet space, Facebooks and Instagram and Twitter. But there's also a very simple thing, which three, we said, what are we going to do? So what we did was in the dark auditorium, we just played an audio saying, mess you and I'm going to get you. And there's this girl wearing a sari just crossing the screen. And the reactions of audience was much, much more interesting than most of the new media things which we do. So then there are these, so the old traditional things also are working in this. So I'd like to ask Devang, Devang has got 500 years of experience in the business. So I think, what is the difference between the old and the new? Is there a good, what's the good things, what are the bad things? But not just from a marketing perspective, but as a whole. Since it's #1 international chain, Cinepolis, please enlighten us.
Sure, sir. I'll talk about 500 years back. So once upon a time, there used to be a cinema hall. All right. Yes. What we believe is, whether it is old or new, there are a lot of new jargons. There are a lot of new waves of marketing. And with all due respect to what Dharmesh mentioned, we believe that keep it simple. I mean, what is digital marketing, a new wave age, all those jargon Aam Janta may not understand. We strongly believe in keeping it simple. Let's get the base right. What are we doing currently? I mean, especially in India, we are talking about we are increasing multiplex year on year. We are talking about 11,000 screen which we had in 2007. We are talking about 11,000 screen which we are still operating in 2018. So 11 years down the line, we have same 11,000 screen. Yes, there are few single screens which is phasing by, and there are multiplex screens which are coming in. But every new multiplex screen which is getting added in the country is generating 125,000 more audience. We are saying that our business is not predictable. I mean, again, we keep on doing a lot of research on data on saying, why is that? I mean, why do we say that our business is not predictable? We don't know what is going to happen this Friday. But when we really looked at data, we know what is going to happen this year. Even when we saw the biggest movie Bahubali coming in last year, or we saw the biggest star with Salman failing a year before with Tube Light. So what happens with that? At the end of the year, every year, we are seeing that since last 10 years, every screen is generating 120,000 admission. Whether it is plus minus 5%, but every screen that is getting added is generating 120,000 new audience. What do we do? Now, let's get our base right. What we are trying to say is that, yes, marketing, street promotion, all is required. But let's leave that for now with our content partner for them to push. We are here to give a platform like what Inox did with Sri, or an interaction that happened at PVR, or there are many other multiplex partnership which Cinepolis have done or Carnival has done, and even at a local level, we have been doing a star visit. But what we strongly believe is that let's do a basic right. We are operating 5,600 screen globally, and out of those 5,600 screen, the top 100 screen in terms of admission comes from India. So it is a matter of pride that out of 14 countries that we are operating, the top 100 screens are coming from India, and it is not necessarily from South. It also has Patna, it also has Jaipur, it also has the West cinema. So where are we? I mean, we are in the country where opportunity is huge. There are people who want to come and see the movie. We really don't have to go and excite them to come and watch movie. We just have to make sure that we get our basic right, which means every time they come in, they get a fresh chair. At least the chair that you are sitting does not have a popcorn spoiled, it does not have a cola spilled, we have a clean floor carpet. Every time they come in, they get a fresh washroom to get in. I really believe that instead of investing very heavily on marketing or even thinking about marketing, let's get the basic right and open more number of screen, focus there, and then come back and see that, okay, now how do we excite people to come into our cinema? The data proves that every time we open a screen, there will be 120 more thousand people will be coming in. So let's just open screen, but not only that, an unfortunate data that we also saw was a matter of pride is that we have 100 screen which is raising in the top 100 screen out of 5,600 screen, but also the customer satisfaction score is what we call as the biggest marketing tool for us. At Cinepolis, we believe strongly that the customer satisfaction is the biggest marketing tool that we have, and we score lowest amongst the 14 countries that again we are operating. So, and it goes as high as say 68% in Brazil versus 22% that is in India. And that's not the story at Cinepolis. We keep on doing a lot of mystery audit at our competition, and the story remains similar. What our customer is asking for, I mean, they don't want to get excited with a star coming in or a promotion or interacting with them. What our customer is getting excited, if this movie is coming, I want to go and come and watch in your cinema, please give me a best experience. Get me the experience which I pay for. Do not push me to an alternate mode of medium, and the story will remain successful. So that's what we strongly believe in, the way of marketing.
Superb, superb. So I think keeping it basic is something which is very insightful. Rahul, your view would be a little different, I'm assuming, because you've been a exhibitor, you've been a, you've run a distribution network which everybody looks up to, and then you have a school. I mean, there's so much of things Mukta is doing. So, and A2 cinemas, obviously. So, cinemas are expanding rapidly. So, what's your take on the whole diverse media?
I think I'm a little in the middle from what's been said. I think that Devang's right in the point of view that we do need to ensure that there is a basic minimum standard across our screens. And I think that if that basic minimum standard is kept, I think that we will continuously see an audience come in to watch movies. However, that being said, I think that there's no doubt that there is a lot more competition for longer form content than there used to be. The advent of digital platforms, Amazon Prime, Netflix, etc., all of these kinds of things certainly has meant that, okay, maybe not the whole gambit of our audience, but certainly the highest paying bracket sort of gambit of our audience has other options and has good options, has solid options available to them from a content point of view. So I do think that the exhibition centers need to think very strongly about the kind of promotion that they do. You yourself just mentioned a story in which everybody's turning out to see the stars, but that doesn't translate necessarily into footfalls in the theaters. And I think that that's a problem. That's been a problem on traditional media. I think it's a problem on social media and digital media as well. And I think that ultimately what Devang talks about as experience is something that needs to extend not just to how clean your cinema is, how good the service is, what the quality of your concessions is, but that experience needs to move outward then to the kinds of experiences that you have for your customers in your foyer. We, for instance, at Whistling Woods have just tied up with Reliance Jio. They're investing very heavily in VR content, and we're looking to see how that content can now play a part in terms of enhancing the experience within the theater. I strongly believe that patrons pretty much make up their mind what film they're going to watch very early, and I don't think that they're dissuaded too much by that from what they see on social media and the like. I think that if you made up your mind to watch a movie, you've made up your mind to watch a movie. I think what can dissuade you from then is you can dissuade people from going to see that movie in a particular theater. I think that does happen. And I think that's the experience that we need to concentrate on. That's the experience that we need to get right. And I think the opportunity is there. I mean, I see no reason why it isn't. I mean, we're constantly adding screens. We're constantly looking at how we can improve. We've got a very young audience in India, and I think that's one of the strengths that we have as opposed to perhaps some of our peers globally. And I think we need to take advantage of that. And but I do feel that rather than looking outwardly, we do need to look inwardly at the experience at the theater, because I think that's the core of how best to market an exhibition theater.
Absolutely right, and that's why we call it a movie-going experience, because experience is what matters. But there's something which, as an exhibitor, we have access to, which is the data. We have precisely the data, how many people are coming, what are they doing, which movies are they watching, how many English, how many Hindi and other languages. But there's one thing which has always intrigued me, and that is, like in Hollywood, they know exactly how many boys, men, women watched a Spider-Man. How many people when a Mission Impossible is coming? Who are the people who watched the earlier part? Can we tap them again to watch the next one? And things like that. And that also generates two footfalls. Now I'm talking about movie-specific promotions because whenever you talk about getting footfalls in cinemas, it's a very, very wide range of things. So everybody has an idea, but nobody has any idea how to do it. So Mohan, I mean, you've introduced a movie pass. You've tried to get in the audience through giving them unlimited movies. So how's your experience with that?
See, the movie pass product has been introduced keeping in the eye of India as a market, because if you see India as a market, it is a very price sensitive market. And if you see the number of movies which are coming, and that's what the difference, the earlier number of movies and the number of movies which has been released today, that means that much of spending power need to increase with the people. And I don't believe that in the entire pocket, if you look at the India, it's a wide variety from the earning perspectives, from the spending perspective. That every individual is not the same when it's come to the spending. And entertainment is something which is a discretionary spend. It's not necessarily that you have to spend the money. That means the product has to be good, the movie has to be good, and then only you can compel person to come and watch the movie. I mean, even if somebody tell you, okay, go and watch the movie, which is boring movie, you will not go because it's a 3 hours of your time which has to go invested. It's not about the pricing. So pricing and the timing. So when Devang mentioned about the marketing of the movie, the difficulty is that the movie as a product is belonging to the producer. Okay, whereas as an exhibitor, we are nothing but a showcasing. So for the showcase, you have to keep your showcase tight, clean, then only a patron or a visitor can come and visit. Because eventually, he will come and see the product only if the showcase is good. And buying or watching that movie will get influence about the product. So marketing of the product is the responsibility of producer. Of course, in that, as my colleague said, that PVR or Inox or Cinepolis or Carnival for that matter are doing their bits to promote. But in that promotion, what we are promoting is promoting a showcase. Okay, come and watch the movie in particular brand. We are promoting all our brand. We are not by and large promoting the product. It's come to the movie card as a product because eventually, we as an operator, we are in the tier 2, tier 3 market, which is more sensitive into the price. We wanted to bring more and more audience to the theaters. And that's why this concept of movie card has been introduced, where we give the opportunity of people to come and watch unlimited movie experience. Like you pay 150 rupees and you watch unlimited movie. And that's what the family want. That's what the lower class people in the country. And that's what straight away we're competing with the other medium, be it Netflix or Amazon, or be it a satellite right. And we believe that, a country like us, where it is not a developed country, it is still developing. I think this kind of product will help to bring more and more audience to the cinema. And more the audience, the better it is. Because I think in the earlier Subhashji was mentioning about he has released the Saudagar in those days, and today if it have released the Saudagar, it could have been 600 crore box office. It is why? Because the kind of movie busting which is happening, you have never seen a movie getting released in 4,000 screen at one go. That's mean we have reduced the life of movie from 75 weeks, 100 weeks to just what, 2 weeks. Today no movie is running for more than 2 weeks or maximum 3 weeks. That's mean lot more options are available, lot more movies are available for people to watch. Every Friday there are 4 and 5 movies are being released. From where the money will come? Each person who is going with a family to watch a movie, he has to spend close to 2,000 bucks in the metro cities, and that goes to the C or B grade center. It is roughly into 500 rupees. And I think as a product, that's the reason we have introduced a product called Movie Card. We are actually, telling people, go watch the movie at your price, and that is how it will help us, because the more number of patrons will come to the cinema, and there are a lot of other avenues which are available for the exhibitor, because if you know the economics of this business, there are a lot of money to now get from the F&B, there are a lot of money to get from the advertisement, there are a lot of money which are offered by other partners like Paytm and other ticketing partners. I think that is why we see the movie pass, movie card as a product, and this is meant to make the movie instead of into a product which should be a mass product. It cannot be limited only to the A-class people, because we are suffering from the occupancy, we are suffering from the. I mean, look at the 100 billion plus people, and how many people are watching the movie? What is the reason? It's not that they don't want to get themselves entertainment, because there is no other avenue which is available for them entertainment. I believe it's a price point which is a deterrent, and movie card is a phenomenal product in that respect. That's the steps which is taken by Carnival, and I urge all other exhibitors, please join that caravan, and also the distributor, because it is also important for them to understand, it is not about getting 200 rupees from 20 people. If your target is to get 20,000, why not circulate the movie to the larger audience?
Coming back to, now we've got diverse opinions, but coming back to one of the heroes of cinemas, which is kind of being sidelined nowadays, that's basically the popcorn and the cola. So now with the coming of the new cinemas, obviously the popcorn is getting hidden because there's so much to offer in food and beverage that, the original ingredient, which is the popcorn, and I know Vikas, who's amazingly passionate about that product. So, is it that simple? You just place a popcorn in cinemas and get sold, or what is the science behind it? And I know that you travel a lot. So if you could, give us some insights.
So, couple of facts. First of all, people who are actually watching movie, their decision is basis the trailers, what they've seen in the past, and also the trailers, what they've seen is about 50% of the people that they've already seen the trailers in the past. That's why they're there. The second bit is that the 48% plus are the people who have actually coming into the cinemas basis word of mouth. So that means, they've already read about that movie somewhere. And out of this 48% also, 80 to 90% of the word of mouth, they have been actually checking in from mobile devices. So that's been the facts really. So once they are there now, how do we excite them to, increase our profit? So once they come in, we really have to get their movie experience up right there. Now, gone are the days where people used to have regular popcorns. The latest buzz is no nude popcorns. People do not want to buy the regular popcorns. They want something more exciting in life. And that's why, there are a lot of companies who've introduced things like sriracha popcorn, peri-peri popcorn. So the concept has been when you walk into the theaters, you basically see, the basic popcorn, but you have add-ons available. So you have things like a basic popcorn along with a sachet of seasoning where you put it into it. You keep moving it yourself and you keep enjoying that stuff. So that's been an amazing stuff. Secondly, I've been seeing is that cinemas, we are basically have to have, as I said, the experience has to be there right up. So the people are wanting to have some better food experiences at the cinema level. So that's why, fresh food is being served. I mean, I used to sell product like combi ovens to normal restaurants, but now I'm selling more combi ovens, which is a 5 lakh plus machine into cinemas because people are wanting to have fresh, sumptuous, juicy food right there when they're watching the movie. So that's what been the, the thing by the people right nowadays.
That's very insightful. Just wanted to check, obviously this is popcorn and everything, but what is the future?
Well, future is definitely great. This is a product which is with 85% plus margin. Cinemas are working on it. More than 50% of the profits comes in from food. Devang, correct me if I'm wrong. So, obviously cinemas...
No comments.
Cinemas are working more and more on...
Some media friends there.
No, Vikas is saying 50% of his profits are coming from food.
So more and more companies are obviously working more, on the food experiences for the moviegoers, yes.
So, Devang, coming back to things, I mean, I somehow agree with you when you say that, the basics have to be right. we don't need to go all over and do 10 things. Rather than that, if we just do the experience right, and obviously there are a lot of factors in experience. One, there are some which you can control and some you can't control. And obviously there are things. But, how do you make it different? I mean, from an international chain perspective all over the world, and how is it different in India?
What happens internationally is we have to go out in the market and get the people in. In India, people come in. So the difference is you announce that one poster with Salman Khan standing and people are in. That doesn't happen internationally. It is changing in India. We will see change happening. We will have to get into the new waves of marketing. We will have to get into how to excite people to watch movies in cinema hall near you instead of going to or instead of sitting home or consuming the product on your device with the bandwidth increasing, with Mukesh Bhai tying up with many other operators
Everything.
To see,
Tying up with everything.
yeah, and that will increase. That we definitely see that home consumption will increase. We are far away from that for now. Like I said, that we need to focus on what can we do as a basic right to get the customer in and retain them. We do run loyalty program. It's very difficult. Internationally, it does happen. When it is a matured market, when you have an opportunity to do a lot of innovative marketing. When you have seen that in Mission Impossible, if there are 500,000 people who have seen movie at your cinema, you know that in next Mission Impossible, on your opening weekend, you're going to have assured 500,000 people, in that ratio to come to your cinema and watch movie. In India, we really don't know. I mean, we knew that how, the franchise, there are very few successful franchise in Bollywood that do work, but there are many unsuccessful behind it where we really don't have control of marketing. So, like I said, that the only difference here in India is that in internationally, they really have to, and many other market that we are operating, we really work very strongly with the production houses to see and go door to door to pull people into the multiplexes. We are blessed in India still. We are at the age of a century where we are, more getting people in than, going and hunting for people. So as of now, it is more farming approach that we are doing in India rather than hunting.
Cool. Dharmesh, just one question to you. If there is most of the cinemas are targeting that 5-kilometer radius, which is around them, and we don't go beyond that because those times have gone when people used to travel a lot just to watch a film. But in a 5-kilometer radius, if you have two cinemas, one is yours and one is the competition, whoever that competition is, and both are at par, obviously your experiential marketing and all those things are going to make a difference. But what is it that you're going to do that, that makes a difference? What is it that your brand does that, they will come to your cinema and not others, if the basics are normal?
So that sounds like a trick question, but...
I'm going to note down all the points.
Okay. So basically, it is consumer experience which brings you back. Like it was explained, it's the basics. But beyond that, you need to create that brand recall for your brand by creating some sort of either content-led marketing or you need to keep at it. You need to keep the consumer immersed with your brand even beyond the cinema. And to some extent, new media is making that a reality. So aggregators like Book My Show, Paytm, they are also helping this entire ecosystem where they're taking content to consumer. They're keeping the consumer always in touch with what's coming, what's the next release. All the exhibitors are doing that. The idea is if you have to choose between two outlets, it has to be absolutely experiential. Whoever has won the experience, the experience bit is the one who's going to enjoy more consumer loyalty than the other one.
Yeah, I guess. My question also was to the fact that if one is cheaper and the others are fairly expensive, but the service is the same. Devang, what is your point? I mean, will the lesser ticket price one get more footfalls, or will it be the experience?
Eventually, experience will win. Eventually. We don't know when that eventually will be. As of now, as we keep saying that India is more like a tolerant economy. I mean, we tolerate a lot of stuff. You come out with the best of experience, but yet you will see that your occupancy or footfall on Tuesday, where your ticket price are 1/3 of that, generates higher footfall and then that of Sunday, which never happens across. So yes, consumer is price sensitive. We are little tolerant about, our consumers are little tolerant about, what service they are getting. But eventually, like I said, that service is key. We need to keep upgrading ourselves. We need to move on to another level to give our customer the best experience they can ever get. New cinema coming in, always we see generates higher footfall. That's because of the experience that they're getting. That's because of, and if you don't upgrade yourself, then pricing is something which will take a back step. Experience will have to take a front step.
Cool. Rahul, apart from the basic and the experience, I mean, there's another word which has just come up, and I keep on hearing it, also from Dharmesh, is the immersive marketing. 500 years back, it was experiential marketing. Now it's immersive experience. People need to, get into that product. So you are doing stuff in VR, you're doing stuff in, new technology. So is that new technology going to change the exhibition scenario in some way?
Yes and no. I think that there'll always be a market for the kind of experience that we have now, in terms of what you would call a slightly more static viewing experience. I think that will always remain. It's been around for 120 years. I don't think it's going to go very quickly. But I think that in addition to that, I think exhibition players are going to have to start looking at the immersive technology quite seriously. Not yet, I don't think so. I think that at the moment there's still a statutory 50-minute warning on most VR headsets. So the kind of content that you're able to watch really does come with a fairly short sell-by date, which is why I think that in the short term you're going to see a lot of sort of companion content, VR content. So take The Meg, for instance, was this big shark movie that released across the world, where the film is a static viewing experience, but to add to that, there is a VR companion content that you can go to the movie hall, and you put the VR headset on, and all of a sudden you're in the water, scuba gear, and you've got this massive shark swimming around at you, to sort of get you into the mood to then understand perhaps a little bit better what swimming in the ocean with a 75-foot shark is like. Similarly, there's a horror movie coming out now called The Nun, which is part of that Conjuring universe, that has also got a VR companion to it. So I think that in the short term, we'll probably have to look at investing in some of these marketing experiences, these companion experiences outside in the foyer, which I think gets a lot of the younger audiences quite kicked about watching the film. But in the longer term, once the technology sort of stabilizes, once fiction storytelling in a VR environment stabilizes a little bit in terms of what actually a fictional story is going to be in a 360 environment, you will see, I think, exhibition trying to then keep up with that technology. I mean, already in LA there is I think it's called the Cube, I'm not sure, which is basically an immersive technology viewing experience where you can go in and, you think back to the amusement parks that we've been to, and we've sort of seen those 120 screens, 360 screens, I mean, all of those kinds of things. That is just an immersive technology. This, though, has the ability to suddenly link a group of people. So where you're not experiencing it individually now, you're experiencing it with 30, 40, 50, 100 more people. That makes it that much more, from an experience point of view, it makes it that much more immersive. And I think certainly in the next decade, that will be one of the big investments that all large cinema chains will have to make.
Great. Yes, obviously the future, we don't know what's going to happen, whether it's going to be VR or a new evolution. We definitely have seen that 3D has contributed a lot to get in the footfalls. But Mohan, my question to you is that, is the consumer habit different in the B and C centers? Are they, or the habits are the same all over?
No, I think B and C centers are totally different than the metro centers, because if you see the history also, the movies are being released in B and C centers maybe 1 week or 2 weeks after it has been released in the main center. Now that trend is changing over the time. Now you have all the big releases which are releasing simultaneously. But as I said, there are more than 1,200 movies are being released. But how many are the big releases? The rest all are the small movies. And as a distributor, as a producer, they have very small, tiny budget to spend at their disposal. So a lot of the marketing is happening around only metro or A-tier cities. That's mean for the B and C-tier cities, it is as an exhibitor, you have to put additional effort. And I believe the movie watching is a habit. So unless and until you don't have movies coming to you at a regular interval, the people will not develop the habits. So there are twofold of challenges which we are facing in the B and C center. One is there is no habit. That means we are not getting the content on a regular interval, plus the contents what we are getting are not getting marketed. So there is no enough or more support for the marketing those movies in that center. Like what you have said is the right example. The people will come and they will adore their stars, and there will be 5,000 people to watch the star, but there are only 3 people to watch their movies inside the cinema. And that's the biggest challenge, because as an exhibitor, you don't want your cinema halls to be empty. Eventually, the facility has been created that you want to sweat them. If more and more people come to watch the movie at a regular interval, you keep the facility also good. So it's not one-time effort. We don't want only 5 big hit releases in a year where people will come and will enjoy, because then you are not going to sweat the facility correctly. We want movies at a regular interval, and that's the biggest challenge in B and C centers. One is a habit. And second, it's again extremely price-sensitive market, because there is the income gap between the rich and poor is further widened. So pricing of the product is also becomes very important. So you have a heavy pricing maybe during the weekdays and the night shows, and you have to drop the price during the weekdays, because that is how we want people to come. It is all about the India, which is like within the India there is different India, and that's what the market is. Because if you want to expand, Devang has said rightly that every one screen we are actually adding close to 1,20,000 footfall. Now that 1,20,000 footfall, I'm sure there's a lot of competition in the metros. I'm not going to come from the metros. It will come only when you expand in tier 2, tier 3 cities. He knows that, the Pune as a market or Bombay as a market, it is almost saturated. From where the growth will come? Because eventually the number of people residing in the cities are not growing that fast, but the number of screens which are coming are going faster than that. So B and C are the very rich market. They are huge potential, but it's going to take a little bit of time, because somebody has invested ahead of the time, so he has to wait till the right time to come and to capitalize those market.
Just to add to your pricing thing, and I've been experiencing this with almost everybody, is that when we talk about reducing the pricing, we generally say, "Arey yaar, wo cinema acha nahi chala, let's reduce the pricing." We do it for a week or 2, and then realize, yaar, kuch farak nahi pad raha, and then bring the price back. So what happens is, and this is not somebody, but this is generally, things have been happening. And if you see Tuesday as an example, now Tuesday, that's been grown with the audience since people have got habit to it, and automatically now it's in their mind कि Tuesday को तो movie tickets सस्ती होंगी. I think that one of these initiatives need to be done on a holistic basis. Vikas, just one question to you is that what are the, we are all exhibitors. So what is that one advice you'd like to give it to us in the food and beverage and that part? That maybe that's something which we lack or something which we should work on. And choose your words carefully because we are all listening.
So, it's said that you eat with your eyes first, then with nose, hand, and mouth comes right in the end. So what I would emphasize really is that, your presentation to the food has to be really good, nice and tempting, so that the moment person comes to a concession, he should feel like trying the product. So it's presentation which really makes all the difference. And the second, of course, is the freshness. 2 points to keep in mind. Thank you.
I guess that's again adds to Mohan's habit, because I've heard a lot of people talking, yeah, that cinema has great nachos, this cinema has great popcorns, and I go there because of the popcorns or the nachos. So I guess the habit also goes on to not just the film, but also the food and beverage. So are we over with time? Okay. So no more questions. You can take over.
So why don't we open the questions to our audience? Do we have any questions from your side that you would like to ask our experts? We'll take maybe 1 or 2 questions at the max. But do we have any questions?
Yes, they are.
Yes, can we have a mic for the gentleman, please?
Yeah, so most of you guys are exhibitors here. So I think you got it right with the food as well as the ads.
Why don't you introduce yourself first?
I'm Srinath, I'm from Bangalore. Okay. I'm an exhibitor. So yes, I spend more on popcorn than the movie ticket and more in Manavir than the movie ticket as such. That's the ads part of it. But how about the merchandise opportunity? Do you think there's an opportunity for selling merchandise in the cinema halls? Great opportunity there?
Yes, definitely there's a good opportunity to, market and sell the merchandise, because if you think about the audience, you are actually holding the customer for almost 3 hours with you. And I think for any salesman, that span of time is significantly higher to sell anything and everything. I think this is a unique shop or a stores where you can engage with the customers in a different manner. You can interact with him at a time of entry, you can interact him at a time of interval, and also you can interact with him at a time of exit. So what you said is right. There is a huge potential about selling the merchandise, and I believe so. Devang can add that already the international chains are doing that, and the big amount of revenue is collected from that as well.
I'll just add, and then Devang can add to that. See, the major problem with film merchandising or merchandising in cinemas, my point of view is that we've not done a concentrated effort. We look at 1 film or 2 film, try to do bits and pieces, and it doesn't happen the way the world does it. So one is that. The second is, again, anything which needs to be done has to be done on a continuous basis. So once you do it on a continuous basis, the consumer gets a habit of doing it. You go to Disney office today in India, and you'll see the merchandise and you'll say, wow, I want to take one home. Now, just like food, if your packaging is right and things are placed at the right places, today Chota Beam is a 500 crore per annum market, or even a Being Human, it's 250 plus crores. I don't have the exact number, but they're higher than this. So merchandising is growing, but we need to make a concentrated effort to come in cinemas.
Also, I like to, it's a great way of, a testimonial for yourself. That testimonial is getting into a consumer's house, and you are going to be a top-of-the-mind choice for him next time he takes a decision of walking into a movie. So that's another thing, you can look at it that way. Great.
Thank you so much. I would like to connect with the exhibitors. I have some property on that.
Just let Devang speak, please. Just let Devang speak.
You have to pay brokerage for that.
Sure. I've already paid a ticket here to Mumbai.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you have any other questions, you may ask our experts later when they're off stage. I request our speakers to kindly remain on stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is said that nothing can replace valuable wisdom and sharing of experiences from seasoned experts in the field. Thank you, gentlemen, for a very interesting session. Can we please give them a huge round of applause? And may I please invite on stage Mr. Raghav, Director, Big Cine Expo, to kindly present mementos to our speakers on stage. Once again, we thank our speakers for your time and for sharing your valuable thoughts with us. Thank you, gentlemen. I request you all to please collect your gifts that we have from Harman and movie cards that we also have for you while you exit the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, a huge round of applause for our speakers. Thank you very much, gentlemen.